Once a boy who looked after father's flock of sheep. And every day he took the sheep to graze on the hillside. And the boy would lie in the sun, let the sheep get on with eating the grass. And he would stay with them until sundown. Then he would get up and take the sheep back down the farm. The boy didn't like being on his own all day and grew bored with his job. He had an idea. "I'll cry wolf, wolf," he thought. "And then people in the village will run up to help me. It'll be fun to see faces when they find there isn't a wolf here at all." So the boy stood up and in his loudest voice cried, "Wolf! Wolf!" And sure enough, several people rushed up the hill to help him. So the boy hid behind. And the people struggled up the hill and looked around. They could see the sheep, but there was no wolf and there was no boy. And he jumped out from the tree and said, "Ha ha, it was just a joke, ha ha ha." And the people didn't laugh. They were very annoyed. And they grumbled all the way back to the village. But the boy felt very pleased with himself. The next day the boy was on the hillside again, and he remembered the trick he'd played the day before. And then he thought, "I think I'll do it again. Why not?" So he stood up and he shouted again in his loudest voice, "Wolf! Wolf!" Then he saw the people the hill to help him. So he behind a wall. All the people arrived to help and looked around. No boy and no wolf. And he peeped out from behind the wall. The boy decided to play the trick on them again, and he stood on the hill and shouted, "Wolf! Wolf!" And sure enough, people running up the hill to him climbed up a tree to hide from them. And the people came up the hill and looked around, and the sheep seemed happy enough. The wolf. "It's that boy again. I'm fed up with this," they said. And they went back downside to the village. And the boys sat up the tree, and when they'd gone, came down. "Ha ha ha! Played a joke on them again." Next day, as the boy lay on the hillside looking after the sheep, he suddenly heard a noise. And he looked up, and all the sheep were running away. "What's the matter with them?" And then he saw it. The wolf. This time, it was a real wolf. It was coming to get the sheep. "Oh no!" cried the boy, and he ran down the hillside as fast as he could, and he said, "Wolf! Wolf! Help! A real wolf this time!" And of course all the people in the village wouldn't believe him, and they carried on with their work. There was a man working with his saw, and the boy said, "Please help me, it's up there." "Oh, go away, boy, I don't believe you," said the man. I knocked on a door, and a lady at the door, and he said, "Help, help, there's a wolf." "Oh, go away, I don't believe you," she said. No one would believe him, so he climbed back up the hillside. And because there had been no one to help him, the boy couldn't fight off the wolf, and all the sheep killed. And the boy was so upset.
tell lies, no one will believe when you tell the truth.
The story of the cockerel and the eagle. Once upon a time, there were two cockerels who lived in the same farmyard. Each cockerel thought that he was better than the other and should be master of the farmyard. They spent nearly every day arguing with each other. At last, the cockerels decided that the only way to settle the matter was to fight. The winner would then be master of the farmyard. The morning of the fight came. Tension mounted as the two cockerels came to face each other. As the other farm animals came to watch, the cockerels began to prepare their plumage, displaying their tails proudly to each other. And then charge, hitting out with claws and at each other mercilessly. Last, one of them was beaten, his tail drooping and his feathers broken and blood-spattered. He crept off to a corner of the farmyard to nurse his wounds. The other cockerel was filled with pride at his victory. Proving himself smugly, other farm animals looked on as he puffed out his feathers and then flew to the top of the fence, and he crowed triumphantly, "Cock-a-doodle-doo! Cock-a-doodle-doo!" The sound of the crowing cockerel travelled far and caught the attention of an eagle who was hunting some distance away, soaring gracefully on the currents. "That sounds good, strong bird," thought the eagle. I'll bet he's a tasty bird too." So the eagle flew and flew until he saw the farmyard and that cockerel, and he swooped down and caught the proud cockerel in his talons. The cockerel made an excellent dinner for the eagle. With his rival gone, the first cockerel came out of his corner. The other animals watched as he strutted cautiously at first across the yard, until he then realized it was indeed he who could take his place on top of the fence. No one could deny that it was now he who was master of the farmyard.
pride can lead to a downfall.
Well, I must tell you this story. Once there were some mice who lived in a house. They had a cosy little home behind a wall. And every day the mice would come out from their home, and the scraps they found to eat were always delicious. But there was only one thing to spoil their happiness. A big cat lived in the house too. And the cat knew the mice out every day, and every day the cat caught a mouse and ate it. And the mice were very frightened of the cat. At last the mice said to one another, "We must do something about that cat. If she isn't stopped soon, we will all be eaten." So all the mice tried to come up with a way to stop the cat from eating them. After a while, one old mouse said, "I've thought of something. If we put a bell on the cat, we'll always hear her coming. Then we can run away and hide." "What a good idea," said all the other mice. So they scurried off to look for a bell. If they found a bell with a collar and put it onto that, whenever they came out to get some food, and they came, they would hear the bell ring and they could all get away. It was such a good idea. So they carried on looking for a bell. As soon as they found one, they took it to the old mouse. "Now who's got on the cat?" "Well, it was your idea," they said, "so you should put the bell on the cat." "Oh no," said the old mouse. "I'm much too old. I can't run as fast as you younger mice. One of you should do it." "Can't do it," said the younger mice. "What would happen to our poor families if one of us got hurt?" "And we can't do it," said the baby mice. "We're much too little." This went on, and in the end, no one agreed to put the bell on the cat. So, every day, the same thing happened. The mom came out to get some food, and every day the cat would come, chase them, catch one of the mice, and eat it. And this continued day after day after day, until they were all gone. And the cat was as fat as could be. A fox was walking through the afternoon. And he came to a house. It was a big house. And it had a grapevine growing next to it. And from the vine hung big bunches of fat, just-looking grapes. The fox was hungry, and he wanted some of those grapes, so he hurried over to the grapevine. But the grapes were too high for the fox. No matter how hard he jumped, he could not reach them. So he backed up and tried again. He ran and jumped, but missed the grapes. Ah, he thought, I'm not going to give up. I'll have one more go. And he backed up a bit further and ran and jumped as he could, but he missed the grapes again. At last the fox gave up. Those grapes are probably sour anyway, he said to himself as he walked away. He knew it wasn't true, but he had to believe it. To believe it.
It does help. You don't want something. It's because you cannot have it.
Out in the woods, there was a hare, brown hare. And he was bragging to all his friends about how fast he could run. I'm swifter than any animal in this field. I challenge anyone to beat me in a race. The other animals were fed up with the hare's boastful talk, but none of them was about to accept his challenge. But there was a very old tortoise, a brave old tortoise, who tended to move rather slowly. And he made his way up to the hare, and he said to him, I will race you. You? Laughed the hare. You're so slow you can hardly walk, much less run. No, it wouldn't be a fair contest. It would be much too easy for me. Nevertheless, the tortoise insisted, I would like to try. All right, said the hare. We'll race from here to the stream on the other side of the clearing. All right, said the old tortoise. And all of the other animals gathered round to watch. Some of them ran ahead to the stream so that they could see the winner cross the finish line. There was a crow up in the treetop. Ready? To the hare. Yes, I'm ready. Are you ready? He said to the tortoise. Yes, I'm ready, said the tortoise. Ready? Steady, go! Called the crow from up in the tree. Off went the hare as quick as a flash. And the tortoise moved off slowly, one step at a time. When he reached the clearing, the hare looked, and the tortoise was nowhere to be seen. He's so far behind, it'll take him ages to catch up with me, the hare said to himself. I may have a rest. And he curled up next to a tree stump and went to sleep. Meanwhile, the tortoise kept walking slowly and one step at a time. The tortoise kept on walking, slowly and steadily moving on. And soon he came to the tree stump, where the hare was sleeping. Ooh, he smiled to himself and kept on walking, leaving the hare behind, fast asleep. Hours later, the hare woke up. I'd better finish the race, he thought. Round and laughed when he couldn't see the tortoise anywhere. He still hasn't caught up with me, he chuckled. But as the hare ran to the stream, there was the tortoise, just crossing the finish line. And all the animals were cheering. Stop for the hare. The tortoise had won the race. And the animals were so pleased, and it was a long time before animals heard the hare boasting again.
Slow and steady wins the race.